The implications for the U.S. men's national soccer team as it faces Iran in a heavily anticipated World Cup match up today are crystal clear. It is win or go home for Team USA. They need to actually win the game. They can't just tie it. If the U.S. does secure a victory, it punches its ticket to the knockout stage of the tournament, but tensions between both countries have also been escalating off the pitch. To break it down for us, let's welcome in CBS News special correspondent and host of the NFL Today, James Brown. JB is also the host of Inside the NFL, available on Paramount Plus.
And I know you guys have been talking about this quite a bit as well, too. But,
Yeah, so this conversation, it's not just what's happening on the pitch, but off the pitch the last few days. Why has this match been more about politics than play?
this particular match, because someone changed the emblem, if you will, on the Iranian flag, taking out a symbol that denoted the Iranian Republic. And that really created a furor. But it had nothing to do with the players or the coaches. It was the organization, if you will, the soccer federation that did that. And obviously it was replaced later. And I understand the furor created about that. However, to me, that which I'm certainly very proud of the U.S. players and others participating is that they have stood firmly and saying, you know what, we are for human rights around the world, and certainly as it relates to women. I am so impressed. The captain, if you will, of the U.S. team, Tyler Adams, boy, did he handle himself so well, with some pretty strong questions coming at him from the Iranian
Should we
press.
remind people, because, you know, he was questioned about his pronunciation of Iran.
Which he then accepted. He said, I'm very sorry.
And was asked about representing a country where there was racism. And I thought to myself the exact same thing. Like, he probably was not prepared for that, but he handled it so well.
You two talked to leaders throughout the day on the newscast for sure. I thought he was as polished as anyone.
Absolutely.
Not a superficial polish. It was from the heart, but he did just a
100%.
magnificent job in terms of what he handled. But to the sports side of it, as Vlad indicated, the U.S. has got to win today. And I know my producer, Harry Forbes, was telling me that the U.S. really has elevated itself in terms of the quality of play and standing worldwide. The MLS here in North America, if you will, they're turning out some excellent players, some of whom are playing for other national nations, if you will, in the World Cup as well, too. So we're really happy about that, but it needs to be on display. And look, when you're confronted with all of these off the pitch, off the field issues, you just hope it doesn't flow over into the actual game itself.
Well, I was going to ask you that question. You know, as a former athlete, as somebody who's spoken to athletes all these years, when there's controversy surrounding a game, I mean, I know there's a difference between, you know, you make it to the pros because you have the ability to focus in on the game when that happens. But I wonder, I mean, how do you do that when you're an athlete?
You know what? Because professional athletes do have that unique ability to block out all of the outside noise. But that's not unmindful that you're still human. So the leaders on the team, like Tyler Adams, will have to show that to influence the other players as well, too, because it is about, they recognize the stakes at hand here, and I think that they will be firmly focused. But to Vlad's point, they got to score. They got to score.
All right, let's talk about a different kind of football, JB, the one that we play here in the United States. I mean, we play soccer too, but let's talk about the NFL. We're in the home stretch of the season with playoff berths on the line. JB, your colleague, Bill Cowher, who's a Hall of Fame coach, said on the NFL Today that this season is like navigating the murky waters. And you want to recognize a few coaches in each conference who are doing excellent jobs navigating these murky waters.
And because there are a number of coaches who are, but I'm trying to be very succinct here. So we'll take two from each conference right now. And Bill Cowher, he segments the season in terms of the first 5 games. You're identifying what kind of team you have. The real challenging part is the middle part of the season, the longest part, navigating the murky waters as you head towards the postseason. On the NFC side of the house, Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, first-year coach. Last year, the team finished the season at 8-9. What has he done? He's turned that entire culture around there. They are now 9-2 at this point. Yeah, people are saying they haven't played a lot of tough teams yet. How are they going to do the rest of the way? Are they a paper mache? Hey, look. He's got the entire organization feeling good, and that includes employees, front desk employees as well. When you've got the entire organization feeling that juice, you're doing all right. And, of course, Kirk Cousins, I'm pulling for him because he is an excellent player. I can't talk about the Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera enough. Not only leadership issues with ownership, being investigated, the whole 9 yards. We know that story. Plus, Ron himself was battling cancer, overcame that a year ago, and then his mom recently passed away. But he has been resolutely focused on the team. They started off 1-4. They have won 3 straight. They've won 6 out of the last 7. They are very much in the thick of the race. You pull for a guy like Ron Rivera, who's got a heart, and he's got the guys, and they're playing lights out. Quickly, on the AFC side of the house, just 2 guys I'm going to highlight today. Mike McDaniel of the Miami Dolphins. Look at him. He looks like a chemistry professor. He was a history major at Yale, but he spent time in the lab concocting what would he do if he was in leadership. His quarterback right there, Tua Tagovailoa, what we call cut-ups. He had highlights of everything that this young man has done well because the press has been unrelenting in criticizing him, the quarterback, about what he doesn't bring to the table. Right now, they are sitting atop the AFC East. They're rocking and rolling. They surrounded him with some great talent, and he's taking full advantage of it. And finally, the Cincinnati head coach, Zach Taylor, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance last year, which caught everybody by surprise. A lot of injuries going into the season. Key players who are not there. What has he done? He's kept them focused. They started off 2-3, still without these key players, but now they have won 5 of the last 6 games. They are playing extremely well. He hasn't lost faith in them, and players do take the lead of the head guy, and they are following him and playing well. Look, they could very well be back at it again because right now, when those healthy players come back, they're going to be making a lot of noise.
You know what I'm getting from all of this, these examples of sort of fine leadership, is that they believe in their team, and because they believe in the team, the players perform. It's not about strategy so much as it is about psychology.
That's coming from a mother because the mothers run the house. They claim that men are the head of the household, but we know who turns the head. The mothers, the wives turn the head. That is exactly right. Yeah. I don't care how much money these guys make, what kind of pedestal they're on, the persona that they have. Yes, they want to be inspired as well, too. And having a coach who knows how to, as Bill Cowher calls it, navigating the murky waters, those are the teams that are going to be successful. Yeah. Nice job, Coach Anne-Marie.
Well, I got a team of one kid, and I don't know how she would review my coaching. The jury's still out. JB, it's always great having you here. Thank you very much.
What time did Vlad get up this morning?
It's insane. But Anne-Marie gets here like 1 o'clock in the morning.
And see, that's an example of teamwork there. Vlad said, no, don't just give it to me. Give the credit to Anne-Marie as well, too.
The magic here. JB, always great to have you, man. Thank you.
Good to see you guys. They're good.